miss you. Your campus misses you. It really is this beautiful. I bet you've never seen it like this, though. It is quiet. You can hear the sound of birds. It is also empty. At least, it looks empty. It's actually crowded, with memories dating back 154 years. Generations of AUB students have walked along these paths. It is here that they made lifelong friendships, celebrated achievements, and made dreams come true. Campus will reopen soon enough. We're looking forward to welcoming you back to the classrooms, laboratories, the gym, and the swimming pool, your favorite bench on campus, concerts in Assembly Hall, and milestone events on campus. Opening Day, Founders Day, class reunion, commencement on the green field, we will then say, Ahlan wa sahlan. See you soon as it's safe.
في ambiance انه نبدا بعمل مدير مسرح بقول لهم نبدا بعمل مدير مسرح نبدا رامي قال لهم نبدا رامي
From the first days after the explosion, the center established a presence in 3 affected neighborhoods. We recruited hundreds of volunteers to clear debris and shattered glass and sealed windows with plastic sheets. Supervised teams of volunteers built trust and relationships with affected residents. Volunteer experts are mapping and assessing damages in preparation for the next phase of recovery, targeted home rehabilitation for vulnerable residents.
However, seeing this, there was a crack which is straight, the wall is straight.
The trauma assessment and support clinic was started 2 weeks after the Beirut 4th of August explosion, with a purpose to serve the community using the specialist resources we have in the department and to facilitate access for those who had not been in the psychiatric system prior to this situation.
The method is the veneer grafting.
Veneer grafting.
Because we only remove the upper veneer of the branch and we insert the buds in it.
Honestly, we're hoping that we get as much as possible time here, and we didn't really believe that we're here until we came and we're actually physically here. Yeah.
We're very short on time, so we're not sleeping well, but it's fine because we're all very excited to be on the field working.
Nothing can really replace the experience on the field and working with our hands and learning from our mistakes in the field. When we came here, it was even above our expectations. We're really having fun, and really great.
Yeah, I don't even want to go back. I want to stay here.
It's easy because we have good company. So
Yes,
Yeah.
the
we're
3
making
weeks
good,
pass.
we're making good bonds and lifetime friendship.
As my thoughts begin to lead, I let go, but I don't know how. Yeah, I don't know how, but I need to now. Help me put my mind to rest. 2 times click and I'm acting low. A pound of weed and a bag of gold.
Please be seated. Members of the faculty and staff, candidates for degrees, parents, alumni, and friends joining virtually, President Fadlo Khuri, I declare that this 152nd commencement of the American University of Beirut for the Faculty of Medicine to be now assembled and in session for the purpose of the day.
Ladies and gentlemen, honored trustees, deans, our commencement speaker, my old friend and one of AUB's most distinguished medical graduates, Dr. Dimitri Azar, attending virtually, dean, faculty, staff, parents, provosts, of course, and families virtually attending, and most especially the magnificent Faculty of Medicine class of 2021. Welcome to your graduation. Where has all the good news gone? In periods of great historical upheaval or change, it is received wisdom that bad news frequently dominates the news cycle. The eras of the COVID-19 pandemic globally and the deep economic, political, and social collapse in Lebanon are no different. Even the use of striking scientific technology combined with ambitious agency and resources leading to warp speed development of new vaccines against this deadly virus and the increasing availability of multiple highly effective genetically modified vaccines has been met with far too much sound and fury. The privileged are getting too much of the vaccine, goes the hue and the cry in the United States, Europe, the developed world, the global south, and yes, of course, in Lebanon, when 70-year-old members of parliament jumped the line. It is true that a disproportionate number of vaccine doses have been administered in the wealthiest countries in the world. But one could suggest, for all of you aspiring physicians and clinical trialists, that these privileged few are actually the first cohort beyond clinical trials to be tested for the short, intermediate, and long-term effects of the mRNA vaccines. And you with them, you're part of that first cohort. And yes, some of the vaccines, particularly those based on adenovirus technology, do appear to be associated with the development of selective and symptomatic thromboses in the central nervous system. However, if the odds of developing serious clotting in or around the brain are weighed against the risk of developing life-threatening clots from the virus itself, the risk-benefit analysis argues strongly in favor of whichever vaccine is first available to an individual. And there are a significant number of novel, highly effective vaccines, something that has been celebrated far less frequently and far less loudly than it should have been. Quite the contrary, sadly. Recent analysis of news cycles related to the vaccines shows that they are overwhelmingly slanted towards coverage of their lack of availability, their potential side effects, and the disparities between the highly industrialized nations that were able to obtain those huge portions of the vaccines, and the nations of the global south whose vaccinations remain far more challenging and whose resources are far more strained. This was brought home in force recently when India, the world's largest producer of vaccines, descended into arguably the most devastating viral surge since the very beginning of the pandemic. Other than covering the heroic actions by healthcare providers during the various surges, what else has been in the news of late? destructive confrontations triggered by overwhelming imbalances of might, and yes, a glaring lack of equality in basic human, civil, and citizenship rights. A glaring absence of social justice and an even more glaring lack of empathy. Atrocious, unfathomable leadership exacerbating violence and the insecurity of large swaths of humanity. In this caustic, cynical, and hostile atmosphere, is it any wonder that trust in leadership has collapsed to its lowest level in several decades globally? Add to that the weaning off of the durable inoculum created during and after World War II, and we see a world on the precipice of confrontation, immersed in fear and willing to believe that any news is bad, that all motives are dark, whether the news is properly sourced and proven and reported, or it's invented and disseminated on that most reliable of sources, the internet, social media. Perhaps the lessons of history have not been as well learned as one might have hoped. It may well be, and this is increasingly my opinion, that we expect far too much of our all too human leaders. I recognize that in Lebanon today, as all of you stood to attention for the national anthem, that this opinion may seem misguided to many, and you have every right to expect your elected and appointed leaders to fulfill their obligation, not only to set higher moral standards, but also their obligation to the very people they've sworn to shepherd and protect, and the very institutions and the constitutions that they've pledged to preserve. The world likes its leaders wholesome, humble, wise, and yes, pure. Unfortunately, if one looks beyond the major prophets of monotheism and a few other striking examples of great women and men who lead effectively, humanely, humbly, and wisely, and who pass the character test with flying colors, we find these examples are rare. And this is also true of physicians. Some of the greatest surgeons and physicians in history have had enormous human flaws. Reprehensible moral behavior, overweening ambition, crushing insecurity. None of these character flaws exclude their owners from having enormous historical impact, and quite often historical impact for the better. And indeed, some of those character flaws might have enabled their actions. Take Otto von Bismarck, the 19th century statesman and first German chancellor, and the subject of the eminent historian Jonathan Steinberg's scholarly, impassioned, and best-selling biography, Bismarck A Life. I'm taking the opportunity to remind many of you who I graduated as undergraduates that you're never free from history, so here's your free history lesson from today. Much has been written about Bismarck's wars, the unification of Germany, the development of Realpolitik, and the startling empowerment of an absolute monarchy. Rather less is heard about the construction under Bismarck's aegis of the very first social safety net, an undertaking fully joined by the grandfather of our own trustee, Alexander Erklins, and by physicians and nurses and health providers, a social safety net. Think of what that would mean for Lebanon today. Or the granting of universal suffrage, voting rights, well before any other European nation, a battle that is still not fully secure even in the United States, where voters' rights are once again imperiled. Or the development of a Bundestag, a parliament for all of Germany, inclusive of the representatives of the various kingdoms, principalities, and dukedoms of Germany. All of these monumental steps that were not the focus of Steinberg's angular portrayal of a man most historians consider 19th century Europe's most influential and arguably its greatest statesman, despite his manifest flaws. But the protagonists of Steinberg's account are not just the Iron Chancellor himself, but the many rich, complex, and yes, all too human characters that inhabit and enable Bismarck's story, and his and ultimately our world. And that is most of our destiny, to be characters at the edge of history, silently contributing to the betterment of our brother and sister of mankind. So therein lie several of the lessons we grasp all too infrequently. Life can sometimes conform to Macbeth's dark, despairing epitaph On learning of the suicide of his wife, co-conspirator, and life partner, Macbeth said of life, "It is a tale full of sound and fury, told by an idiot, signifying nothing." But far more frequently, life is a rich tapestry of flawed colors, of human beings who rise and fall, only to rise again on many an occasion, to make a difference even as they struggle with, but somehow overcome their own flaws. Biographies of great women and men tell us their stories, but there in the background lie the heroes and the villains, the contributors and the detractors, largely hidden from view until one looks more closely. And as physicians, it is your duty to look more closely. The greatest healers, scholars, scientists, writers, artists, epistemologists, philosophers, engineers, and musicians who are just off center in the stories of legends and of peoples, but whose real words and deeds make an everyday difference, more often than not for the better. People like the Turkish-German husband and wife co-inventors Ugur Sahin and Özlem Turki of the mRNA technology that helped us vaccinate and save so many, many lives. And indeed, people in our own AUB community who are far too numerous to do justice to here, but who include our recent graduate, the savvy and dedicated Bishara Shuqair, who has led President Biden's remarkable U.S. national vaccination campaign, which will allow the United States to have given 70% of its population at least one dose, and close to 60% both doses, and be able to open up by July 4, 2021. And that's going to have significance for us because more vaccines will be shipped to the global south and the rest of the world. Or closer to home, Nohad Dumit, Gladys Hnain, Iman Wahid, Najat Saliba, Lina Da'ou Oiri, Ala Aoun, Rima Karami, Charlotte Karam, Carmen Jaha, and others, heroes who bring Khabdit Beirut and its inspiring and life-affirming services to the patients and population of the devastated Karantina district of Beirut. Or Karin Saar, Nada Melhim, Marco Bardos, Sohakench, Sharara, and others of our COVID-19 expert committee who've worked tirelessly to prioritize the safety of our community before all else. Or Ali Abu Alfa, a modern-day role model who directs the Human Research Protection Program, enabling legions of AUB faculty members and students and staff to conduct practice-changing investigations, all while publishing clinical research, mentoring young physicians and nurses, and saving the lives of patients in acute kidney failure, one person, one patient at a time. What he and the great Fuad Ziadi do to run the IRB when they could be seeing patients, writing papers, doing research, is the ultimate gesture of dedication. And yet they may be just out of focus. So the next time you despair while reading the news, weighed down by sensationalism rather than buoyed by rationalism, reflect carefully on what you can do to bring good news to the world, to make certain that in the immortal words of Robert Kennedy, you too can genuinely state, "Some see things as they are and ask why. I see things that never were and ask why not." Today, by standing at attention for the Lebanese national anthem in a broken nation, you are recognizing the future, the hope, the possibility. By insisting on shaping and serving a better, fairer, more inclusive, and more hopeful world, you can answer the questions of where the good news has come, because you are superb, tried and trusted AUB Faculty of Medicine, class of 2021. You are our good news to the world, and the good news and the hope for a better world to come. Thank you and congratulations. Our first student speaker is Mr. Mohamed Hussein Noureldein, soon to be Dr. Mohamed Hussein Noureldein. Mohamed completed his graduate studies at Ain Shams University in Egypt and ranked first with a Master of Science in Biochemistry. Khud waqtak ya Mohamed, you have a nice long biography. After which he joined the doctoral program in biomedical sciences at AUB's Faculty of Medicine. During his time at AUB, Mohamed served as a core team member in Dr. Assad's lab. He worked hard, he worked in silence, he stayed out of the main picture, but he was able to publish 8 scientific articles in internationally acclaimed journals, which have been cited more than 50 times to date. In May 2018, Mohamed presented his work at the Gordon Research Conference in Hong Kong, China, on epigenetic mechanisms and their role in the development of diabetes, and also at the American Diabetes Association virtually last year. Mohamed has received additional training in Australia and Denmark, in addition to his thesis work at AUB. He is now going on to a postdoctoral fellowship at the University of Michigan. Soon to be Dr. Mohamed, the stage is yours.
President Khuri, esteemed members of faculty, parents, and friends. I have been waiting for this day since my departure from Egypt heading to Beirut 5 years ago. Gathering here today face to face, despite that our parents and loved ones are attending virtually, and I know with the same excitement as in person, shows that we are getting back step by step to normal life after the COVID pandemic. Getting out from a virtual nightmare to a reality full of hope wouldn't have been feasible if not for the resilience and patience of everyone. The efforts of the medical professionals everywhere and researchers who developed vaccines in a short period of time. They have all raised the bar of research innovation high, inspiring all of us as graduate scientists at the AUB Faculty of Medicine. Getting a graduate degree, especially a PhD, is a long journey that requires hard work, dedication, and perseverance. But it is full of joy, teamwork, and aspiration. At the day of your graduation, you look back and see that you fulfilled your first step towards an adventure which will take you a lifetime to achieve, and still won't be enough. When I first came to Lebanon 5 years ago, my only goal was to get a PhD from the best educational and research institute in the Middle East and go back to Egypt, my home country, to have an academic job. Instead, these 5 years completely changed me and shuffled my life. I have learned that a PhD isn't only about obtaining a scientific education and get a degree. It is also a character-building experience, preparing you to be a researcher, project manager, and a mentor for future generations. I was very lucky to join the AUB Biomedical Sciences PhD program, which provided me with the best experience by pushing me all the way to be the best version of myself, making me believe in my potentials and giving me all the facilities to reveal them, and supporting me in each and every step along the way on an academic and personal level too, and providing me with every opportunity to learn, aiming in advancing my career. The PhD program at AUB Faculty of Medicine is very comprehensive and allowed me to rotate in different laboratories before I started my thesis project. These rotations enabled me to experience different fields, learn so much about different research methodologies, and get to know the amazing faculty members of the AUB Faculty of Medicine. Besides, the program curriculum enabled me to develop strong background knowledge about different scientific research topics, allowing me to start a journey in one of the Faculty of Medicine labs. In all of that, I can cite countless examples on how AUB helped me. I can't mention all of them, but it's crucial to say that during my PhD years, with the help of my advisors and professors at the Faculty of Medicine, we have published many scientific articles, and on top of it, AUB offered me the opportunity to present my work at international conferences. Before finishing my degree, I have received an offer for a postdoctoral fellowship, which I am currently pursuing at the University of Michigan Faculty of Medicine at Ann Arbor, an institution that an AUB delegation headed by President Khuri visited and signed an MOU with to open new horizons of collaboration, and I was maybe one of the first outcomes of it. The support and guidance that I have received at AUB is exceptional, starting with the higher administration of the program represented by Dr. Iyad Jaffa, who made things flow smoothly at the administrative level. Also, I am so grateful for Dr. Nadine Darwish, one of the first faculty members I was in contact with at AUB Faculty of Medicine. She has provided me with relentless support and advice alongside with the PhD office. I was very fortunate to pursue my PhD training at the lab of Dr. Azar, one of the best renowned diabetes labs in the region. Dr. Aid is the perfect advisor and mentor that anyone can wish for. The team spirit in his lab is like no other. It is more of a family, and I have learned that this family spirit is what advances research and promotes creativity and compassion. Lab collaborations that are encouraged by AUB allowed me to experience various techniques and gain knowledge that wouldn't have been possible if I was only restricted to one lab. We collaborated with Dr. Sami Azar at our medical center on translating basic medical observations to clinical work. In addition, we collaborated with several other labs in different faculties, like Faculty of Engineering and Faculty of Agriculture and Food Sciences, and departments in FM, including the Department of Biochemistry and Molecular Biology and Department of Microbiology and Immunology. I am mentioning all that because I had the chance to look at a certain disease from different perspectives. In my opinion, this is one of the greatest strengths of AUB's biomedical PhD program. I won't forget to mention how these years also forged my character and taught me how to manage my time, develop mentorship skills, and work in a team. The environment provided by AUB is like no other. I have made so many friendships that will last for a lifetime, and Lebanon has become truly my second home with a very unique place in my heart. A special recognition is due to international students everywhere who have the extra challenge of being away from their families and comfort zones. But I can tell you this is the place to be. Also, a huge thank you is due to my parents in Egypt and all the parents watching us today. This is your son telling you that your efforts and sacrifices have paid off. Thank you.
We are now privileged to introduce our second speaker on behalf of the medical students. Mohamed was our speaker on behalf of the graduate students. Our student speaker for the medical students is Mr. Issam Zeitoun, soon to be Dr. Issam Zeitoun. Ralph completed his undergraduate studies at the University of Balamand, where he received his Bachelor of Science degree in Medical Laboratory Sciences with high distinction. He then joined AUB for medical school. During his time at AUB, he served as a cabinet member of the Medical Student Society in his second year and served as a student representative on the Curriculum Committee and the Student Affairs Committee. Ralph was also involved in multiple research projects and served as a core team member of AUBMC Cares and AUBMC affiliated initiatives, namely in the HEAL Clinic and Revive, the Blood and Cancer Association. He was elected to the Alpha Omega Alpha Honor Medical Society as a junior and was awarded the Lebanese Medical Training Leadership Award. After graduating, he will be joining the Johns Hopkins University School of Medicine as a postdoctoral research fellow in cardiovascular imaging in the hopes of pursuing a career in cardiology. Ralph, soon to be Dr. Ralph, the stage is yours.
President Khuri, Dean Zaatari, Associate and Assistant Deans, Keynote Speaker Dr. Azar, esteemed professors and faculty members, parents, family, friends, and fellow graduates of the class of 2021. Allow me to begin by expressing how thrilled I am to be here tonight and how honored I feel to be addressing you. 4 years ago, as one of the first-year medical students joining from another university, I was naturally worried about blending in a new environment where almost everyone already knew one another. But this feeling did not last long, as you were all welcoming and in no time made me feel like I always belonged. Additionally, it was not long before I realized that this caring atmosphere extended to the faculty members as well. From the classroom to the wards, every professor and attending physician I had the chance to closely interact with took it upon themselves as their primary responsibility to ensure that we students get to benefit from all the knowledge and expertise that they can offer. In medical school, we are assigned to complete academic and clinical tasks in groups. We all remember sharing ideas and discussing explanations during TBL sessions, practicing physical examination on each other during clinical skills, rounding together on the wards, dissecting patient cases during morning report, and the list goes on. Under the layers of curriculum design, we were being taught something much more essential than simple teamwork. The value of a collaborative environment was revealed to us as we advanced in our education, and a sense of community and belonging was being fostered. I have seen my colleagues staying after hours to ensure that their patients receive appropriate care in a timely manner, and that none of their tasks are handed over to the rest of the team. I have seen them coming in on weekends to provide free healthcare to those who cannot afford it. I have seen them staying long nights, working at the bench or digging in medical charts with full dedication to their research projects. I have seen them rushing to the emergency department on the night of the horrific Beirut blast to help in any way they can. I have seen them living month after month away from their families so that they can attend to their clinical duties during the COVID-19 pandemic. And I have seen the light in their eyes as they all received the first dose of the vaccine. I have seen it all. I have been immensely inspired, and I cannot wait to see what each member of this class will achieve in the future. Sharing this journey with you has been a constant reminder of the beauty of a career in medicine and of what this honorable profession entails. It gives me great pride to be graduating with you, class of 2021, a class of brilliant physicians, researchers, leaders, and humanitarians, a class that has demonstrated day after day a remarkable ability to adapt in the face of adversity. Road closures, riots, an economic crisis, nationwide lockdowns, quarantines, the devastating destruction of our beloved Beirut. And yet, we are gathered here today. Class of 2021, as emotionally draining as it was, we made it. For a while now, I have been ruminating on the hardest decision I have made so far, one that many have made before me, and that many after me most certainly will. The decision to leave the only home I have known for my 25 years of existence. It is with a very heavy heart that many of us depart from our families in the hopes of a better future. While we are away, we can only hope to perpetuate the reputation that AUB has established in the Western world and around the globe through its alumni, many of whom have become leading figures in their fields. I am confident that the sentiment is shared by many of us sitting here tonight when I tell you that my biggest wish is to be able to return to Lebanon and give back to AUB all that it has given me. I was recently asked if my experience in medical school was everything that I expected it to be. To simply agree with that statement would do great injustice to my time at AUB, a time that exceeded every expectation. Thank you, AUB, for granting me some of the best years of my life and for introducing me to some of the most inspiring professors, mentors, and role models. Thank you for giving me friends who I am so fortunate to call family and with whom I have shared the loudest laughter and the darkest hours. Thank you for making me cross paths with my better half, Elizabeth, whose endless support kept me going throughout this journey. I would like to thank every patient who has given me the chance to care for them and who has taught me much more than a textbook ever will. Your stories will continue to inspire me for a long time. Last but certainly not least, I would like to thank our parents and families, and especially mine, for all the unspoken sacrifices that they have made, in the hopes of finally seeing us here today receiving our diplomas. For these sacrifices, we are eternally grateful. We hope that we made you proud and that we will continue to do so. Thank you all and congratulations.
Thank you, Ralph. It is my pleasure to introduce tonight's keynote speaker, internationally recognized ophthalmic surgeon, distinguished university professor, and a prolific researcher, Dr. Dimitri Azar. Dr. Azar is president and CEO of 2020 Therapeutics, which uses artificial intelligence, microelectronics, and scalable digital technologies to bring innovative solutions for diagnostic and preventive eye care. Dimitri had previously served as Dean of the College of Medicine at the University of Illinois and Senior Director of Ophthalmic Innovations at Google Verily Life Sciences. Dimitri started his academic career here at AUB many years ago, and he went to the Wilmer Eye Institute at Johns Hopkins, later becoming a tenured professor of ophthalmology at Harvard Medical School and director of the Cornea Service at Mass Eye and Ear. He became a senior scientist at Shepard's Eye Research Institute and head of ophthalmology in the Illinois Eye and Ear Infirmary. Dimitri has published more than 500 papers and chapters, served on multiple boards, holds 40 patents, and has edited 23 books in ophthalmology. Clearly, being a prolific ophthalmologist means your eyes don't need to rest. Please welcome our esteemed alumnus, the recipient of many awards, and a top doctor in America, Dr. Dimitri Azar.
Well, thank you so much, President Khuri, for this very kind introduction. It is a distinct honor and a great pleasure for me to be sharing the podium with you and with Deans Ghazi Zaatari and Kamal Badr, albeit remotely, and to address the outstanding AUB medical student graduates in the presence of the provost, the faculty, the medical school leadership. I wish that the current travel conditions were such that I could have joined you in the class of 2021 in person. I'd like to address the AUB Faculty of Medicine class of 2021. Last year was a trying year for many of you, for your professors and for your mentors, but today's wonderful event is a testament to your perseverance, to your hard work, and the commitment to care for your patients. You worked hard under difficult circumstances to get to this point, and I am sure that you have excelled, as Ralph has said just minutes ago, because of the help and encouragement of your family and friends who have been the source of support during these demanding years in medical school. Class of 2021, many of your relatives, loved ones, and friends were also unable, like me, to join you in person today. Please recognize them and applaud them, your parents, your spouses, your family, your friends, your teachers, and your mentors. Distinguished graduates, today's commencement marks the beginning of your careers as alumni of this esteemed university and faculty of medicine. It feels like yesterday, but it was 38 years ago when I was in your seat at my commencement ceremony at AUB. Calling it a commencement, meaning a beginning, rather than a graduation ceremony, reminds me of a favorite quote by Sir Winston Churchill. This is not the end, this is not even the beginning of the end, but it is perhaps the end of the beginning. Throughout the past century and a half, AUB medical graduates have made numerous innovations, scientific discoveries, and seminal medical contributions. Many of the professors gathered here to honor you tonight were also once in your seats. They continue AUB's rich tradition of excellence and outstanding contributions to science and healthcare. And as graduates of this outstanding medical school, each of you should take pleasure in the fact that you are being recognized this evening as future worldwide leaders in medicine. For those of you fanning out across the world, you will take these same values, the same spirit of giving to your new communities. And for those of you who will stay in Lebanon, you will reinforce ties with AUB Medical Center and with the people of this great country. Congratulations to all the graduates, and a special shout out to my nephew Nadim and to the 15 graduates who are entering the Scholars Program that is directed by my classmate, Dr. Ghada Al-Haj Fulayhan. Dear graduates, commencement speakers are often asked to give advice to the graduates. I'd like to offer you 3 thoughts. The first is to challenge yourselves to work outside your zones of comfort. You just heard Dr. Mohamed say that he challenged himself and he went outside the zone of his comfort. And that is going to be a lifelong theme for all of you. With success and experience in your chosen specialties comes expertise and comfort. I advise you to move outside your comfort zones into hitherto unexplored areas of convergence of disparate fields. I was very comfortable during my 7-year tenure as Dean of the University of Illinois College of Medicine. I was fortunate that we were able to reshape and modernize the curriculum. I know you went through the same process. And we changed the curriculum of one of the largest medical schools in the United States by, among other things, updating facilities and introducing more interactive classes, etc. My biggest pride, however, is that we went outside our comfort zone and we changed the college strategy to capture the convergence between biomedical sciences on the one hand and computational sciences and bioengineering on the other, which personally I see as the future of medicine. And this has further guided me personally to move from the Dean's office to Google, as you heard from Fadlo, my good friend and president of AUB, and now to 2020 Therapeutics. Every day I feel that I'm working outside my comfort zone, even at this stage. But the excitement of working in convergent fields keeps me going. I work with brilliant engineers with the goal of creating digitally enabled solutions and microelectronics in and on the eye to treat and prevent medical and ophthalmological conditions. My advice to you is to remain open to new ideas and concepts. When you identify areas of convergence of disparate fields, the opportunities for success will be immeasurable, but so are the challenges of working outside your comfort zones. With the appropriate level of humility and courage, I am certain you will change the world. Lesson number 2. Lesson number 2 is caring is our calling. Caring with a capital K. An orientation to caring incorporates the attitudes of attentiveness, honesty, patience, respect, compassion, trustworthiness, and sensitivity. Caring has 2 primary attributes: receptivity and responsibility. A receptive physician listens to patients with empathy and compassion. A responsible doctor transforms these feelings into real action to help their patients. Like many of you, I entered medical school with a solid scientific background and with the time-honored goal of caring for patients. The curriculum during the first 2 years of medical school at that time focused on knowledge of the anatomical and pathophysiological facts and mechanisms of action of diseases and drugs, rather than the two pillars of caring, receptivity and responsibility that I just mentioned. I was fortunate, however, that one of my classmates, Issam, became a role model during medical school, helping us to focus on the scientific details, but not at the expense of caring. Ever since, he has demonstrated exemplary compassion and empathy to all his patients, authenticity, and unwavering commitment to serve the underserved. Years later, as a resident and fellow at the Massachusetts Eye and Ear Infirmary, I had two beloved mentors in ophthalmology, Dr. Simmons Lascelles and Klaus Dolman. Those of you in ophthalmology would recognize these names. Both were extremely accomplished scientists, educators, and clinicians. Leading ophthalmologists across the world consider them giants in their fields. What impressed me most about them, however, was their genuine care for their patients, showing empathy, compassion, and respect to every single patient at every encounter. They gained knowledge on a daily basis by caring for their patients. Their orientation to caring reminds me of Wagner's opera Parsifal, in which Amfortas is quoted repeatedly, durch Mitleid wissend, through compassion knowledge. It is important to do a good job, to be excellent. However, it's most important to care. Do not forget that it is through compassion that one will attain special knowledge and ultimately self-actualization. Caring as a calling comes in more than one flavor and in several settings. Doctors Malouf, Lascelles, and Dolman exemplify caring in the clinical setting. Other physicians' calling is caring for their students. I am sure that every one of you has had many teachers here at AUB who exemplify this. They are caring medical educators who are tireless in their pursuit to teach and train every one of their students, residents, and colleagues. Other caring physicians dedicate their lives to solving difficult research problems. You've heard a lot about this from President Khuri. These selfless clinician scientists have made seminal contributions and innovations that have resulted in transformative therapies that would help millions of patients. Caring is also action rather than caution, especially by leaders. President Khuri and the AUB Faculty of Medicine leadership, I'd like to address you for a moment now. You have exemplified this by your laudable action-oriented response to the many crises and calamities that have faced Lebanon and the university in the past 2 years, especially in the past 2 years. I had the privilege of reading a preprint of President Khuri's article in FASEB Journal titled, "It Never Rains, But It Pours," which describes how AUB has faced many dangerous storms, but seized opportunities, including, for example, transforming medical education through these crises. The class of 2021 is a very, very special group of graduates who has suffered through these problems and benefited from all the interventions that you have implemented to weather the economic, political, and healthcare storms. So class of 2021, please join me in thanking and congratulating your teachers, the deans, and President Khuri for all these outstanding and needed interventions. Some of you may have heard about Dr. Charity Dean. Her calling is caring by preventing disease. She's the hero of a recent book, The Premonition. I don't know if any of you had a chance to read it yet. This book is written by one of my favorite nonfiction authors, Michael Lewis. You may have read some of his other books, such as The Liar's Poker, The Big Short, and Moneyball. The most controversial animating theme of Lewis's new book, the premonition, is caution versus action. This provocative book suggests that the suboptimal US response to the COVID-19 pandemic was primarily due to the major cracks in the US healthcare system and in the CDC. Their historical tendency towards caution has slowly evolved to pose huge obstacles to action at times of crisis. And that's indeed when action is needed rather than caution. So back to Charity Dean, this California public health official and the main character in the book. Dr. Dean is compared to an action hero who comes to believe that she was put on earth to fight battles and wars against disease. This is her calling. Her calling is caring by preventing disease. But to succeed, she had to take action and fight many learned professionals who suffer from self-indulgence. The third and final thought is that my advice to you is to appreciate the journey ahead, no matter the difficulties. As you contemplate your future goals, some may advocate obsessive planning of your life goals. My bias, however, is to follow the advice of Constantine Cavafy in his poem Ithaca. Focus less on reaching your destination and more on enjoying the journey itself. Ithaca, as many of you know, is the island destination of Odysseus, or Ulysses, the hero of Homer's Odyssey. He spent 10 years at sea with the single goal of returning to Ithaca and reuniting with his wife Penelope. Reading the Odyssey, as many of you may have done in CS 201, we feel the pain and share the agony of Ulysses on his long, adventurous journey. As the Laestrygonians devour his crew, and as he struggles to escape the Cyclops Polyphemus, and to narrowly survive Poseidon's anger. Now, in contrast to Homer's Odyssey, which describes the trials and tribulations of life, Cavafy's Ithaca is about hope and the thrill and joy of the journey. It's a short poem, 5 stanzas, published in 1911 by a then unknown Greek poet living in Alexandria, Egypt. I will conclude by reading some excerpts. As you set out for Ithaca, hope your road is a long one, full adventure, full of discovery. You'll never find fearful things on your way as long as you keep your thoughts raised high. While Poseidon, you won't encounter him unless you bring him along inside your soul. Hope your road is a long one, so you're old by the time you reach the island, wealthy with all that you've gained on the way. Class of 2021, congratulations and best wishes. Thank you and God bless.
Thank you, Dimitri, for very inspiring speech and also for a lot of practical lessons that all of us can learn from. What an amazing evening. Can you cheer up a little bit? You just find it too, yeah. This is your evening, this is your night. And it gives me great pleasure addressing you this evening. President Khuri, Associate Deans, Assistant Deans, Provost, dear Fellows, and faculty members, the class of 2021. What I want to share with you some things that you probably hear a lot on an average day at AUB. AUB, in thee we glory, make us true and brave. Although this call is taken for granted while chanting the anthem of the alma mater, I wonder how many have stopped to reflect on the strong message this verse carries. Its words are inherently uplifting and have been a source of pride to all AUB alumni across all ages. But under today's pressures, they carry a stronger burden. The pursuit of truth has perplexed civilizations, religions, cultures, philosophers, writers, and individuals. The proposed paths by these various groups have differed, but almost all converge on one notion, that this pursuit is a lifelong journey that matures over time to the extent you, as individual, is willing to nurture it. Jalaluddin Rumi recognized the big challenge of this path. He insightfully and intelligently stated, "The truth was a mirror in the hands of God. It fell and broke into pieces. Everybody took a piece and looked into it and thought they had the truth." This is reflective of the devastating conflict that is ripping our beloved country apart today. Each party claims to hold the truth within its grasp, but the real collective one remains elusive because of obliterating blindness. Rumi proceeds to admit that yesterday I was clever, so I wanted to change the world. Today I'm wise, so I am changing myself. Centuries earlier, Buddha came to the same conclusion. A man who conquers himself is greater than one who conquers 1,000 men in battle. Therefore, as you get ready to undertake this lifelong journey, proclaim your willingness to start by changing yourself and bringing down compromising barriers in order to secure joyous internal tranquility for the rest of your lives. We, as healers entrusted with reducing human suffering, are indeed blessed by our profession, like no other, in achieving and in an amazing way the ultimate objective of a self-fulfilling peacefulness of mind and soul. Can anyone in this audience think of a more gratifying feeling when you make an accurate diagnosis or offer an appropriate treatment or achieve a scientific discovery that contributes to the recovery of a good health, the saving of a human life, or advancement of science? As you press on this long lifetime path, what is required is to pursue knowledge, scientific or otherwise, with an open, curious, but yet a critical mind, to explore new horizons with zeal, but yet with a thoughtful wisdom, and to bring genuine contentment to yourself and the largest number of others, not with condescending view, but with a loving, caring heart and thoughtful mind. Next, I turn to bravery, which is defined as the quality or state of having or showing mental or moral strength to face danger, fear, or difficulty. What we witnessed within the past year, be it in the devastating COVID pandemic, the catastrophic Beirut port explosion, and the crashing economy and the ongoing collapse of the country's monetary system, posed unparalleled fears, except maybe for those witnessed in traditional open battlefields. Bravery is simply overcoming such fears in the way you conduct yourself. Nelson Mandela described it eloquently by describing his personal experience in fighting apartheid. "I learned that courage was not the absence of fear, but the triumph over it. The brave man is not who does not feel afraid, but who conquers that fear." Rampant deaths because of COVID pandemic rekindled the ugly memories of the Black Death that devastated the world ages ago. Our local experience with COVID-19 was horrifying, but here again, the history will register the solid bravery of dedicated women and men like you as heroes of the day who stood up to the disaster, upheld the Hippocratic Oath, and did not abandon the pandemic scene out of fear. Going through the experience of the past 15 months makes you a unique group of graduates that will carry this special experience for the rest of your lives. Tomorrow will bring to you yet another life experience, so as you step into it. Arm yourself, therefore, with the following 7 attributes of bravery. 1, always stand up for what's right, even if you are standing alone. Cornelius van Dyck, one of the founding fathers of the medical department of the Syrian Protestant College, walked out of the college in 1882 in protest of the board's of manager decision to terminate a faculty member for daring to bring up on campus Darwin's novel theory of evolution. Blocking new knowledge and preventing the academic freedom to deliberate and innovate thoughts were utterly unacceptable to the highly regarded evangelist missionary and the professor of internal medicine and pathology. To him, freedom of thought and questioning science as a legitimate path for advancement were non-negotiable. 2, uphold your morals and do not succumb to peer pressure. Today, we live in a world where materialistic temptations and corruption have compromised and tarnished the social fabric and ethical values that guide our lives and our profession. 3, exhibit kindness in everything you do and to all those around you, family, friends, patients, and co-workers. Taking care of patients requires patience, compassion, and kindness. Number 4, take responsibility for your life and the decisions you make. Pause periodically to assess where you went right and where you went wrong. This self-assessment exercise with accountability is indeed a sign of bravery. Number 5, know when to say no. Have the courage to declare it against a non-convincing work project, overburdening task, a request by a hypocrite, or a wolf dressed in a lambskin, or even a friendship. Number 6, know when to seek help. The practice of the medical profession and the pursuit of the scientific discovery are very challenging, so seeking help when necessary is a sign of courage rather than incompetency or inaptitude. 7, see your ideas and plans to the end. Bravery and steadfastness are a guarantee to overrun hurdles, overcome obstacles, and remove challenges to open widely the path for success. Despite the dark days we are experiencing today, I take this opportunity to reaffirm the commitment of the Faculty of Medicine and all its members to quality and community-oriented medical and biomedical education, the same way it was conceived since its inception in 1867. During its long illustrious history, this institution have been no stranger to serious calamities, conflicts, and wars, and invariably it emerged stronger in its bravery to carry on with its mission and the pursuit of truth. To conclude, from now on, anytime you recall the anthem of the alma mater, think for a moment to what extent you have been true and brave to yourself, to the people and loved one around you, and to the profession you are about to serve for the rest of your life in the pursuit of happiness, self-contentment, and internal tranquility. And congratulations to the class of 2021.
Mr. President, recommendations for degrees to be conferred today have already been made by the Faculty of Medicine. In accordance with established procedures, the candidates who have satisfactorily completed all the requirements and are deemed worthy by the Senate to be awarded degrees will now be presented by their dean. President Khuri, I call upon you to confer the degrees.
Mr. President, as Interim Dean of the Faculty of Medicine, and on behalf of my colleagues of the faculty, I have the honor to present to you the candidates for the degree of Doctor of Philosophy in Biomedical Sciences, Doctors of Medicine, and Master of Science. As Interim Dean of the Faculty of Medicine, will the student awarded the degree of Doctor of Medicine please rise? In our profession, it is a custom established more than 2,000 years ago that all those who are admitted to the honors of the profession must first take upon themselves its obligations. Now, therefore, on behalf of your elders, I call upon you to take, as we have taken before you, the oath which will bear the name of the Hippocrates. I shall read to you the pledge, after which you will be asked to signify your acceptance of it. Will the faculty members of the Faculty of Medicine please rise? In the spirit of Hippocrates, I do solemnly pledge before my teachers and all those present to be true to this oath. I will be loyal to the ideals of the profession of medicine and its tradition of service to all human beings. I will care for my fellow human beings with compassion, empathy, and kindness. I will follow their treatment, which according to my ability and judgment I consider for the benefit of patients while respecting their choices and beliefs. I will abstain from whatever is deleterious and mischievous and will not perform any medical procedure or for criminal purposes. In the presence of epidemic or other danger, I will not allow fear or concern for personal harm to turn me from my duty. Whatever I see or hear in the lives of people which ought not to be spoken abroad, I will keep secret. All my professional acts shall be for the benefit of the sick to the utmost of my power, holding myself aloof from any act of corruption or discrimination. In purity and uprightness, I will pass my life and practice my art. While I continue to keep this oath, may it be granted to me to enjoy life and the practice of the art registered by people at all times. So do you so promise? In keeping of the pledge, may each one of you be granted a long life of service and the privilege of honoring the profession which today honor you. So will my colleagues of the faculty please be seated.
By virtue of the authority vested in me by the Board of Trustees, I hereby confer upon you the degrees for which you have completed all the requirements and express the hope that your learning will lead you to advance knowledge in or enrich the practice of your chosen field. Congratulations.
I now call upon the graduates from the Faculty of Medicine to come to the stage. The first graduate will be the recipient of the Penrose Award from the Faculty of Medicine for 2021. Will Mr. Ralph Issam Zeitoun please come to the stage?
Ralph graduated with distinction and was elected to the Alpha Omega Alpha Honor Medical Society. Candidates for the degree of Doctor of Philosophy in Biomedical Sciences: Buthaina Khalil Ghandour, Marianne Nabil Jallad, Sarah Hisham Mu'dad, Mohamed Hussein Noureldein, سالي وديع صوايا. Candidates for the degree of Doctor of Medicine: Christina Omar Abi Faraj, Farida Toufiq Abi Faraj, Elizabeth Simon Abu Diwan, Leah George Abu Haidar, elected to the Gold Humanism Honor Society. عبد الغني محمد كمال أبو كورة. زكي سلام أبو مراد. حنان هاني الأغر. زينب عاطف عيديبي. غنى أحمد الفوت. سالي ناصر الحسن. طارق زياد عراجي. سليم ميلاد عرموني. جوني بيير عطلة. جوزيف حليم عزار. نديم سامي عزار. Daniel Salwan Badin, with distinction elected to the Gold Humanism Honor Society and elected to the Alpha Omega Alpha Honor Medical Society. Hussein Ali Baidoun. Antoine Eli Bijani, elected to the Gold Humanism Honor Society. Aram Harutyoun Bidikian, with distinction and elected to the Alpha Omega Alpha Honor Medical Society. Nicole Paul Bourjaili, elected to the Gold Humanism Honor Society. Ghassan Bousaba. Joël Camille Boussaba. Johnny George Boussaba. Joyce Rashid Boutros. Maria Fadi Shalfoun. Tanya Marwan Shiha. Daniel Jean Dao. Nahla Nabil Daye. Patrick Richard Dibs. Marwa Abbas Diab. مايا عدنان دياب. هبة نمر ديراوي. رودي رياض الأسمر. سارة بلال اسكندراني. ناتالي ميشيل الخوري. نور فايز المسكي. إبراهيم كمال المئاتي. جمال عبد الفتاح الزين. جمان عبد الفتاح الزين. شرب المنير الياس. ريم حسن عز الدين. محمد يوسف فارس إن أبسنشيا. سهى جهاد فرحات. جورج يوسف فرانسيس. فرانسوا نهاد جنادري. بيا ماريا جورج غنيمة. وسام نضال غصن, elected to the Gold Humanism Honor Society. عادل محمد حج علي with distinction. رزان رياض الحلاق. جاد مصطفى حلال in absentia. مايا موسى حويلي. سارة ربيع حطوم. ماريو جورج الحايك. ماريو أنطوان الحلو. هنادي أحمد إبراهيم. رند نسيب إبراهيم. حسن محمد عتاني. رشا توفيق كعكاتي, elected to the Gold Humanism Honor Society. نور كامل كالوت. أنتوني أفيديس كالوتسيان. حسان خشفي, elected to the Gold Humanism Honor Society. ميرا حسن كحيل. دانا ماريا خوري. إياد زين كوبايسي. حسين محمد كريم. كلوي جورج لحود. محمد علي نبيل مكتبي, elected to the Gold Humanism Honor Society. محمد أحمد منصور, elected to the Gold Humanism Honor Society. نيلة سلمان مروي. مريان لويس نبوت. أسيل عماد نحلاوي, elected to the Gold Humanism Honor Society. سناء عارف نكد. أسامة غسان نصر الله. حسن علي ناصر الدين in absentia. جورج الياس نصيف. ريم وسيم رافع. زهراء عاطف رحال, recipient of the Research Award. وسام سامي الراعي. حوراء عادل رؤوف. عبد الستار نواف رسلان, elected to the Gold Humanism Honor Society. محاسن محمد المختار رضا. ليا جوزيف صعب. مريم علي سعد. علي رياض صباغ. هادي مخايل صباغ, with distinction, elected to the Gold Humanism Honor Society, elected to the Alpha Omega Alpha Honor Medical Society, and recipient of the Naji Sahyoun Award for Excellence in Medicine. مازن نزيه السبع. ساندرا علي صادق. حمزة أحمد سلهب. إلسا سليم كرم, with distinction, elected to the Gold Humanism Honor Society and elected to the Alpha Omega Alpha Honor Medical Society. Julie Majdi Samouri, elected to the Gold Humanism Honor Society. Dana Muhammad Shatila, elected to the Gold Humanism Honor Society. مالك عبد الرحمن شتيلة. باخوس توني تدرس. مايا عباس طالب. مايكل أنتوني ميشيل تيمونيان. رايا عصام توما صوايا. أدهم سميح ياسين, with distinction and elected to the Gold Humanism Honor Society. Anthony Fuad Yunus. Noor Khalid Yunus, with distinction and recipient of the Research Award. Kimberly Rhea Zakka, elected to the Gold Humanism Honor Society in absentia. Hussein Ali Zalzali. Rana Osama Zarif. Jad Imad Zbib. Mohamed Adnan Zainuddin in absentia. Candidates for the degree of Master of Science. Rula Hassan Abdullah. Carol Sami Abdel Karim. Lin Muhammad Ali in absentia. Ibrahim Adeola Ahmad. Sana Amin Al-Tirik in absentia. Ghadir Ali Amin. Sireen Imad Andari in absentia. Zena Musa Bayram. وفاء توفيق بقاعي. ساندي منير شكر. ميشيل ربيع شكي in absentia. هبة توفيق فليحان. رنا محمد غازي. نورهان عامر غانم in absentia. نسرين أمين غانم in absentia. مي حسان حيدر. أمل محمد حلواني in absentia. هيفاء مروان حسنية in absentia. نورة محمد حجال. جميلة مصطفى حجازي in absentia. مريم عماد حجازي in absentia. مها محمد عتاني. فرح عمر جردي. زينب محمد كوثراني in absentia. سارة علي خميس in absentia. سارة جوزيف خزاء in absentia. نور عباس معتوق. كارين مارون مشلب and بيرلا جورج مخول and جورج سليم مرهج and زهراء شهاب مشيك and سحر ناظم نويهب and زينب حسام رملاوي in absentia. سيلين جورج سعد. لما محمد صابر. كورين جوزيف سماحة. حلا أحمد سردوك. مرسال صفوان شمس الدين in absentia. كوثر حسن شرف الدين. رشا شحادة سليقة. هدى نبيل طنطاوي. ريم عماد وزني. كريستال كمال يمين and كريستوف كميل زغيب in absentia. Candidates for the degree of Master of Science in Health Research. Sana Ahmad Badour and Muhammad Khalid Nasser in absentia. And last but not least, Muhammad Ali Hassan Tfaili.
I now have the distinct pleasure of greeting all of you for the first time as alumni of the Faculty of Medicine of the American University of Beirut. The road you've traveled during your years at AUB has been a demanding one, and you are to be congratulated for having successfully met each and every one of the academic challenges thrust before you. and for distinguishing yourself at the most prestigious university in Lebanon and the region. Some of you will be going on to careers in Lebanon, and many of you have told me overseas. Others will be continuing their education in higher degree programs. Wherever your travels take you, I wish you success in your careers, personal joy and health in your lives, and peace and fulfillment in your communities. At this point, I would like to acknowledge the key role that has been played by your families, your parents, your husbands and wives, your children, your siblings, all who have walked this road with you, who've contributed their financial means, and who have given you their love and moral support. Your success is their success as well, and they celebrate with you. So I would invite each and every one of you now to stand and express your appreciation for their constancy and devotion. Congratulations, graduates, and to your parents and loved ones. Graduates, please stay standing. May I ask all of the faculty, the dean, the provost, to stand for the alma mater.
I now declare this commencement exercise at a close. Will the degree recipients please remain in their places until the President and party have cleared the area? Mr. President, will you and your party please follow me?